Townsend. Todd Townsend, the man who knows everything.
Actually, Americans, according to a poll in the New York Times, think that we spend 41% of our national budget on foreign aid every year. The reality is it's less than 1%. The actual numbers, according to an article in the Christian Science Monitor, $13 billion. Thanks, Elliot. Folks, you can call us. You do a great job of that every day. You can also send us a fax if you're connected to the internet or you just have a fax machine in your office. You're watching the show on your lunch hour. That number is 1-800-450-0019. And if you are connected to the internet, you do have the option of sending us an electronic mail message, email at newstalk.com. It comes right up here on the screen. Elliot, we can discuss their question or comment right off the internet if they so choose to send it that way.
I love that.
Now, right on the way out, before we went to the break, you asked the question, how was this tied into education? How many people? Let's look at the education statistics. Well, I happen to have some stuff here from the Department of Labor about the minimum wage, and they say the highest percentage of people that work at the minimum wage level didn't graduate from high school. Obviously, 12% of the people, now they go down percent, who graduated from high school but did not go to college. It drops down to 4%. So the majority, according to the government of the people, don't even have a high school degree. And Patrick, no one can argue this community policing effort is working, and not just in big cities like New York. It's happening all over the country. In Louisiana, one housing complex that had a horrific crime problem, they instituted community policing. 73% decrease in crimes, especially homicides in that area. In Florida, 83% decrease in crime in another housing complex. Again, major homicides just all but disappeared because of that. But they do point out some phenomena that happens now. The community policing does work. The crime goes down. But then experts bring up the question, where do the criminals go? They're calling it displacement. Maybe we can hit on that. They say, well, gee, if we get the criminals out of this area, the crimes are going to happen somewhere. The criminals are just going to go somewhere else. Is that true?
They're going to prison and being displaced into the prison system.
54%, that's an unfavorable rating. We've got anywhere from 50 to 60% of the country thinking that she's specifically lying about these events as opposed to just having an unfavorable rating. Now, of course, at the same time, Bill Clinton's numbers are slowly starting to go up a little bit. We had seen those come down in the last month and a half because of the budget battle and the shutdown. Most people were blaming the GOP for the shutdown, but they were blaming both Bill Clinton and the GOP for the budget battle itself. But slowly, as Hillary's numbers go down, Bill is starting to climb back up, and as we know, people look at the president's numbers when they re-elect, not the first lady most of the time.
But let me go over here to Todd Townsend, the man who knows everything, our information specialist, who can call up all sorts of fascinating information, chat at a moment's notice.
We've
Todd,
got
what do
it
you have?
all here at our fingertips, Patrick. You can pull in everything up. Thanks to the internet and all the technology available today, we can also get to chat room comments. We have a lot of people in the chat room who want to get their voices heard tonight here on News Talk. We've got, he's calling himself Second Gunman. I love some of these handles on the chat room. You never know what they're going to be. Sure, Patrick. You know, and Elizabeth Dole better keep that $200,000 a year job if she makes it to the White House so they can pay for all their legal fees when they start getting looked over by the Democrats next year. The poll went on to say 51% of the people do have an unfavorable opinion of Hillary Clinton at this time. You know, the previous high for our first lady was Nancy Reagan's on approval rating. That was only 31% at the beginning of 1988.
That was when she brought to China.
That's right. That was from some of those misguided astrology predictions.
And she was consulting with the astrologer.
Todd Townsend is with me. I bet you didn't have a Todd Townsend when you were a young man, Governor. I don't go out of the house with Todd Townsend. He knows everything. He's got a computer here that will tell you quite literally everything. How do the polls look in South Carolina? They vote this Saturday.
Well, you know, if the election were held today, station WCDB-TV down there has predicted that Bob Dole would win this thing with 35% of the vote. Pat Buchanan would come in second with 24. Lamar Alexander would come in with 13. And Forbes with 10%, according to this poll. So it looks like Bob Dole is going to sweep this.
So that's a southern state, and Lamar was supposed to do better, wasn't he?
Lamar was supposed to do better, but according to this, he's only going to get 13% of the vote.